Welcome to another segment of Eye on You. I'm your host, Bridget Driscoll, and today we have the Model United Nations program. Joining us, our students for today, we have alumni Kendrick Wilk. Kendrick, thanks for joining us and coming back to the University of Massachusetts Lowell.
Very welcome.
And we also have English major Lee Jackson, who is currently in my news writing class. Lee, thanks for joining us for another show.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. And our faculty for today, we have Dean Bergeron, founder of the Model United Nations program. And Dean is the Professor Emeritus of the History Department. And we also have Ardeth Tongmoon, Associate Professor of the Political Science Department. So thank you for trekking down here to the studio with all the students.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I'd actually like to kick off the questions for today, and I want to begin with Dean. I'll put this to you. What actually sparked your interest in the Model UN? Was there an issue going on at the time, way back when you started the program?
Well, it was started back in the mid-'80s. A student in the history department who worked as our departmental student assistant got information from the Harvard Model United Nations, and they were requesting that we might want to attend their Harvard Model United Nations in that year, in 1985, I believe that it was. And she asked me if I was interested in being advisor to a small group of students that she had recruited. And I said that I would be really happy to begin the process of setting up a committee that would look into it. And I started working with the Associate Dean, Richard Derry, at the time. And I got the green light to go ahead, and it began that first year with 8 students. And it finally developed towards the middle of the time with over 35 students. And now, this year, we have over 180 high school students coming for a high school model that will be starting at the university on April 4th.
Wow, it's really grown.
It has.
I'd like to kick our questions over here to Kendrick. Kendrick, do you have a question for Ardeth or Dean?
Yes,
for
Dean.
Dr. Bergeron?
Dr. Bergeron, yes, definitely. With the growing amount of young people getting involved with the Model UN, has the amount of information that's available these days in the information age made the discussions more realistic and involved in any way?
I'm not sure that it's more realistic or more involved. However, it has completely changed the preparation for our competitions. In the beginning, we used to go down to Harvard and spend one day researching in the Widener Library. We would spend 2 days at the BPL, the Boston Public Library. All of those things are no longer necessary. So in one way, it makes it easier. In another way, it has lost a time for the new group to bond together by spending the day in Boston and going out to lunch and so on. So it has really changed the way we prepare.
Lee?
Well, I know I'm really interested in the New York debates. We might be heading there soon. I was wondering, I know that we've talked about this before, but if you could tell us what some of the things are that the students will be doing at the mock UN debates in New York this year.
Well, there are many different kinds of committees of the United Nations. For instance, Security Council, General Assembly, World Health Organization, and also regional organizations such as APEC, which is Asian Pacific Economic Caucus. So these students will be sitting in different committees, and then they will be debating, they will be discussing on various issues ranging from nuclear disarmaments to the role of gender and education and health issues.
Actually, it's all of the same issues as the United Nations itself is discussing this year. are issues that will be discussed and debated by students from all over the world at this conference.
How do you feel that these debates help real-world issues just by debating them at the UN? It helps the students, obviously, but how else does it help our world today?
Well, I think one of the ways is that, and you said it partially yourself, the impact that it has on individual students. In fact, I received calls from 3 of them today, 2 of them in Washington, D.C. We have over 35 students that were in this program who are now in Washington, D.C., in the State Department, the CIA, the Department of Justice, the Congress, that, and many of them, when they call me, or artists, and they'll tell us the actual experiences that they had debating in the Model United Nations and the Model Arab Leagues and the Organization of American States, all of the various ones that we have done, was actually what they're doing now was in many respects exactly what they were doing during these experiences. And so I think in that way, these young people who go through a process of beginning feeling that they really can't compete, many of them are first-generation college students, and then they begin to realize that people just like them are now in these positions in Washington, and then because we have won so many awards, actually bringing home awards, competing against many of the Ivy League schools and schools from all over the world, that has helped them to gain the not only the experience, but also the confidence to achieve these goals.
Can I ask you, how do you give your students the edge to compete against the Ivy League schools? What is it that specifically that you do to prepare them for that?
I think because we require a great deal, and we do mock simulations within the class. They have a tremendous amount of reading and quizzes and exams to prepare for the content of the material. But they also then, we have videotape speeches, videotape debates, and then we critically evaluate the public speaking. We do all kinds of team building exercises. We also have introduced simulations that prepare them for the simulations they'll be dealing with at New York. Or last year, 2 years ago, we went to the university, the London School of Economics in London. Next year, I know an artist can talk about that we're looking to do maybe something in Asia or Europe again.
Oh.
And also, we also try to improve their research and writing skills, because it's, a tremendous amount of emphasis is put on research and writing. Mm-hmm. So we help them with their research. Sometimes we go through their papers, we go through line by line, and we make them rewrite their papers. So we really, it's the amount of effort that require for this course is very demanding. Yes.
Kendrick?
Yeah, I'm interested in, as far as strengthening the perspective of each group's respective country that they have to research. Is it beneficial to kind of identify with that country's history and the typical citizen sensitivities and how they are represented in the actual UN? My question would be, how much of an impact does historical research have as far as representing that country?